Right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to CEO Insights Asia's Executive Series Principles of Scaling. Pasensya na po, wala si Love. Ayan. At you know us here at CEO Insights Asia, we get shit done, come hell or high water. So tuloy tayo. Happy anniversary sa ating lahat. We're nearing our 1-year mark. And while we were having this conversation kanina, no, behind the scenes, sabi namin parang back to ano talaga, back to square one. Ayan, when we started this, it was just me, myself, and I, and then a few people behind the scenes. Ngayon, we've grown so much. But because of a lot of happenings ngayon, medyo back to square one tayo. Anyway, I'm very excited to share kung ano yung mga pag-uusapan natin today in terms of execution. But before that, a quick reminder why we do this every Friday at 10 a.m. It's to install DNA principles that scale organizations. Ang gusto natin mangyari is that all the viewers in Zoom as well as in the Facebook Live. Ayan. So yung mga nasa self-made movement, sa mga nanonood sa page, pwede kayo mag-chat dyan. Ayan. So we want you, all of you, at saka yung mga nanonood ng replay sa YouTube at listen sa Spotify. Ayan. We want you to take home at least one principle that you can immediately apply to your organization. The idea is, pagtapos na itong session na to, meron kayong makukuha kahit isa na pwede nyo kagad i-install sa inyong day-to-day operations. Ayan. So, for this month, the focus is on being methodical. We manifest an insatiable drive to be better. Ayan. Good morning kay Janice Penzan. Ayan. Thank you for joining us in Zoom. And ang focus natin, ang theme for this month is all about execution. And I think this is one of the key skill na kailangan nating matutunan as CEO because we're Chief Executive Officer. So, dapat second nature sa atin to. Right? So, a quick overview of the topics we've discussed. Week 1, we talk about structure. Yan. And then week 2, we talk about sanity. Today, we'll talk about sustainability or sustainable. Next week, we'll talk about suggestions. Ayan. So, very excited for the talk for today. Quick announcement lang before we proceed to our talk. So, CEO Insights Asia has partnered with my firm, FA Hernando Executive Advisory, to conduct DNA workshop. So this will happen on Thursday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. So if you want to, well, you should, it's not if you want, you should sign up for this workshop so you'll have your own DNA and then you'll have a better understanding ng mga pinag-uusapan natin dito every Friday. So output neto is you will have a purpose statement and that is the first step in attracting the right people to your organization. So the fee is 50,000. It is inclusive of 1-year executive membership and 1 executive pass for CEO Summit 2023. Ayan. So speaking of so this is happening on Thursday. Please register, and for those who are who have registered already, I will be sending the pre-work para may idea kayo kung ano ang pag-uusapan natin on Thursday. Ayan, sige. So, speaking of CEO Summit, pwede ko nang i-reveal ito. Ayan! Di ba? So, I'm very excited to share that Gian Scotty Havelona the CEO, founder and CEO of Orange Apps, it's an edtech company, will be one of our faculty for CEO Summit 2023 happening on October 27 sa Novotel Araneta Center, Quezon City. So ang backstory nito, we invited him to attend the gala night and he was blown away and he asked us, how can I help? So hindi na natin pinalampas yun, ginawa na natin siyang faculty for 2023. So ito yung mga makakasama, isa sa makakasama natin sa summit for 2023 on October next year. So registration is now open. The fee is 18,000. Tama ba, Chris? Yan ang operator natin. 18,000, but the early bird is 13,000. So we offered a 9,000 for those summit alumni. May mga nag-register. Unang-una doon si Coach Ron. Ayan, ayaw ng ma-miss ni Coach Ron ang Summit 2023. So nag-register na siya. But that is done. So we're now going to the early bird. Ayan, sige. Next, another announcement before we speaking of speaking of Summit, may mga kausap na tayong faculty for 2023. Siguro i-share ko na lang. We'll reveal it soon. Medyo tatapusin muna natin ang dapat nating tapusin. Ayan. So para doon sa mga nasa Zoom at saka nasa live, paki-share naman ang ating heart react para maganda naman. Ayan. Heart react at paki-share ang ating feed so that we'll be able to reach more people. All right. So let's go down to the topic for today. Okay. We'll talk about sustainability, right? And or sustainable. This is the third installment of our series for the month. And a quick overview why we exist as an organization. And CEOInsight Asia, for those, if this is your first time, welcome. Thank you for joining us dito sa ating episode, The Principles of Scaling. And welcome, join us. Become an executive member and join the circles. That's where the action is. But why are we doing this as overall? This is our purpose, is infusing ideas that build lasting companies. We want to be able to build companies that can survive for over 100 years. And we're going to learn together how to do that and build together because you can't build it on your own. Okay, pag-uusapan natin yan later, right? So, meron pala akong mga announcement dito. Very quickly lang, 4 lang to bago mag-proceed tayo. So, first, it was my firm's anniversary yesterday. So batiin ko naman ang sarili ko, syempre, di ba? Happy anniversary to FA, Executive Advisory, the people behind it, the associates, the client partners. Much love to all of you. We exist because of you. 5 years na po tayo formally whispering to the ears of the CEOs about organizational strategy and mga structure at organizational design. So that's the first announcement. The second, batiin naman natin ng happy anniversary si Marvin and Jenny of One Tax Dax, 'di ba? Anniversary nila. Faculty natin 'yan sa summit ng 2022 and they are one of our network, mga kaibigang oso natin 'yan. Another announcement is happy first, 'di ba? Anniversary namin mag-asawa. 140 months na kami. 'Di ba? Mommy, I love you. Ayan. 18 ngayon. So I had to announce that. And last but not the least, dalawa pa, hindi pala. Second to the last, ngayon ko lang nabasa to. Happy birthday, RD Morales of We Trade. Na we miss you. So yan, isa sa mga executive council natin and pioneer of the circles. And last but not the least, batiin natin yung nasa Singapore. Ayan, one of our co-founders, Sellers Hub, Chief Visionary Officer. Happy birthday, BK. Ayan. Diba? Ayan. Batiin muna natin yan. So, pakibati naman yung mga natin. Happy birthday, BK Idol, the Phenom. Ayan. Malayo pa daw birthday niya. Oo nga, malayo nasa Singapore eh. Okay. So, agendas na tayo. Enough about that. Agendas. Let's do a conversation starter. Nicole Garcia of One Click is here. Ayan na. Naturo ni Vane. So, let's give her a capability to unmute. Then we'll do a quick recap. We'll do a case study. Ang ganda na itong session na ito. Hindi ko nga alam bakit. Anyway, we'll do a case study of the Swiss Army knife, the principles of organizational life cycle. We'll talk about the 4 stages of startups. We'll talk about defining business review and why it matters. And then we'll get practical. Ayan. So, as we move on, kindly, alam mo yung tradition natin, please greet one another. Hello, CEO, and what represent your company, from what company ka para ma-shout out natin yan. Sige, I'll give you 2 seconds. Thank you, Janice. Happy anniversary po, Sir Fa. Ayan. Sige, Ses, happy anniversary. Hello, MN Starnet. Thank you. Good morning. Yung nasa Facebook, shout out. Hello, CEO, seller sub from SES. Si Jobs ng Sam Enterprises. Ayan. We have Arkesi. Yeah, si Janice. One Click PH, Nicole Garcia. And then, ayun na, si New Ventures bumanat na. Okay, sige. So, tuloy na tayo. Happy anniversary, sabi ni Oda. Okay, sige. So, conversation starter muna tayo. Alex Cooper of SKC is here. Conversation starter, Nicole Garcia of One Click. What do you think is the one skill that is absolutely critical when scaling your organizations? Floor is yours, ma'am. You can unmute.
Yes. Hello. Good morning.
Yeah.
Hello,
Good
CEO.
morning.
What do you think is the one skill that is absolutely critical when scaling your company? Siguro po for me, yung strong decision-making skills ng CEO. Yun.
Strong
Kasi,
decision-making skills. Yes.
Yun po. Kasi parang yun po talaga yung pinaka-importante, lalo na pag mag-i-scale. Saka syempre yung execution, saka yung attracting the right people.
Iyo, diba? Execution and attracting the right people. So that involves strong decision-making skills, diba? You need to decide anong mga kailangan natin gawin so that we'll be able to attract the right people who can execute. So yeah, thank you so much for that, Nicole. Shout out sa mga kay John, nandito nakita ko si Jay. Nakita ko si Jay nandito. Good morning sa inyo. So yeah, one critical skill is decision-making skills. You know, the ability to make the right decisions in a snap of a finger. Sige, babalikan natin yan. Magkakaroon muna tayo ng quick recap and then we'll proceed to the session. Ready? Ayan, si N Rocket. Ayan. Quick recap lang. Week 1, we talk about structure and then we talk about the CASM. Okay, this image, I want to burn it in your brains. Diba? Na maalala nyo to na meron tayong, as entrepreneurs, as business people, we have a vision, but we know there's a gap, there's a chasm between yung where we are right now at ano yung gusto nating ma-accomplish. And ang magtutulay sa atin, may 3 tayong options. Diba? Kailangan natin ng mga kasama, marirealize natin yun. Para magawa ko tong vision na to, kailangan ko ng kasama. So either kailangan ko silang utusan, which is command. Pangalawa is bayaran, which is compensate. Or pangatlo is samahan. Okay? So those are the 3 options that we can do. Okay? Obviously, utusan sila, mabilis yun, but it's not sustainable. Bayaran, again, it's not a long-term, kumbaga, it's not sustainable in the long term. Yes, people need to get paid, but parang it's modern day bribery. Gawin mo to, babayaran kita. Parang suhol, di ba? It's not gonna really sustain us in the long term, and if that's what we want. Or we can find people na sasama sa atin because they want also what we want. They share what we want to accomplish. Yan. So that's what you call collaboration. And for that to happen, you need to share the same DNA. Meaning, you share the same convictions. Na this is what we want to accomplish together, and this is what we want to do, and this is what we need to do. So kinakailangan parehas kayo kasi pagka walang hindi parehas, magkakaroon ng north and south yan. Magkakaroon ng tensions, and most issues in a company, most founders break up is because people who founded the company do not share the same DNA. They have different vision. Doesn't mean mali sila parehas. It just means magkaiba. And I've been through a lot of founders breakup one too many times. So ayoko nang pagdaanan niyo yun. Alright? So an organization's DNA is composed of 6 building blocks. The 6 P's, di ba? Pag-usapan na. Basahin niyo na lang yung notes para maintindihan niyo kung ano yung 6 P. Yan. Alright. Then, ang pinaka-bottom line nito, a team cannot operate fully, let alone win, unless it is healthy. Diba? Kahit pag gaano kagagaling yung mga tao sa organization natin, if hindi naman healthy yung organization, may sakit naman, hindi rin ma-accomplish yung vision natin. Yan. So that's the topic for week 1. If you want to know more, just go to the page and watch the video again. Skip nyo yung mga intro Yan. And just watch the clip para may background kayo. Next, we talk about, this is about last week, sanity, right? And we talk about the execution killers, di ba? Execution, these are the things that kill execution, or what we call yung drama, justification, excuses, and bullshit or BS, or the Jebs culture. Hindi jobs, ha? Ayan. mali pala. Okay, Jebs culture. And nakikita natin to na naging example nga natin dito yung pag kami nangutang sa atin, di ba? Ayan. may nagsabi sa akin, good morning sa samahan ng mga hindi binayaran, pero lakas makapost ng #blessed, #successful. Ayan! Di ba? Yes, I. Ayun, good morning daw sa inyo, ha? Yung mga hindi binayaran. At ginost pala, ayun, pero lakas makapost ng #blessed, #success. Yan di ba? Pag maniningil tayo, pag mag-accounting tayo, di ba? Speaking of execution, accountability is critical. When you hold people accountable, doon nawawala, nagkakaroon ng drama, nagkakaroon ng justification, di ba? Nagkakaroon ng mga excuses or BS. Pero, di ba, kung ano naman naman pinagpo-post, di ba? Anyway, sabi nga isa, okay lang naman mag-post, walang problema, bayad muna. Ayan. So, it is connected. This is a principle, is connected in individual, it's connected in organizational. Pag maniningil na tayo sa mga tao natin, it's very important that we hold them accountable. Yes, I. Please type. Yes, I. Ayan, may haha. Yes. Grabe si Frank. Good afternoon. Ay, good morning pala. Ayan. Please type yes, I if you're still with me. Para alam ko, yan. Alright. Sige. Alright. So, many times, because here's the thing, di ba? Many times, even bullshit can get you to the top, but it never lets you stay there. That's the story of the pheasant and the bull. Right? So, how do you combat? Anong weapons of natin to combat the execution killers, the yin-yang of execution, the mentality, the mindset, and the skill set or methodology? You want to know the details? Watch it. Previous episode natin. Good morning kay Giovanni, ha? Yes, I, all caps. Ayan. All right. So now let's focus on sustainable our episode for today. Sige. So let's do a case study of the Swiss Army knife. I love this case study, and very powerful ito because this will help you scale and grow your business. If you are in the survival stage, if you are in the stage wherein you're barely keeping your head above water, this session is for you. So, let's do a quick facts lang. No? So, Swiss knife pala. You know naman the Swiss knife, di ba? This one. It's created 1880s. Di ba? So, over 100 years na pala to. No? And it was created because they needed a folding pocket knife for soldiers, yung Swiss Army. And what is it used for? They needed to open canned foods at saka i-disassemble yung Swiss service na rifle nila na nagre-require ng screwdriver. That's why Swiss knife was created. No, but that time, here's the funny thing. The funny thing is, back then, walang Swiss company nakakapag-produce nito. So they ordered it to Germany pa. The manufacturer is Western & Company from Solingen, Germany. Yan. Now, eventually, a talented Swiss inventor by the name of Karl Elsner, he decided he wanted to create the Swiss knife dito na sa country natin. So he created the Swiss knife, and then it was very popular. Though some complained about it, so he went back and made it even better. Ang galing, no? He added the corkscrew. So ganun lang, you know, you wanna keep getting better. That's the value that we have. Manifesting an insatiable drive to be better. If you're in the ecosystem, it's because you want to get better every single day. 1% better every day. Now, si Elsner, he got heartbroken by the death of his mother, Victoria. So he named the company. Wala pa kasing pangalan yung company nila. So he named the company Victorinox, and inox being a French term for stainless steel. Kasi doon first time nila nag-create ng stainless steel for the knife. Yan. And it can actually call itself, Victorinox can actually call itself the original inventor of the Swiss Army knife. But the Swiss Army gave the contract to two companies. Diba? They wanted competition kasi you don't want to be dependent on one supplier lang. Diba? So that's a tip. You don't want to, kaya nga hindi lang iisang ating ang service provider, di ba? Ang ating logistics partner. You want to have as much as you can para hindi tayo dependent sa isa. Okay? But here's the thing, hindi built to last ang Wegener. Okay? So what happened is 9/11, because of the climate change, pinagbawal yung Swiss knife sa eroplano. So they had to step in, and Victorinox, they were in trouble, si Wegener, and Victorinox had to step in and purchase or acquire Wegener in 2005. I remember the first time we traveled, I attended a session in Ateneo, a certification course in Ateneo, and one of the gifts that they gave me is a Swiss knife, yung kulay blue pa. And then for our second honeymoon, 1-year anniversary namin mag-asawa, that was 2016, I believe. We went to Hong Kong to celebrate our anniversary, and then it was with me, so I had to leave it to sa PAL, dun sa airport. I never got it back. So yun lang. No? So 9 months later, Johan was born. So my daughter's made in China. Ayan. So who made the Swiss knife popular? It's MacGyver. So at kaway-kaway naman dyan, kung mga nakapanood, please type yes I kung kilala nyo si MacGyver. Ayan, di ba? Kung inabot, mga batang 80s, 90s, kung inabot nyo yan. Ako hindi ko inabot yan. Wow! Di ba? Please type yes. Walang nag-yes ay, walang nakakilala. Labo naman. Ako lang palang kausap ko rito. Anyway, so MacGyver made it popular. So here's the thing, okay? So here's the thing. Here's the key takeaway that I wanted to share with you. The Swiss Army knife is a metaphor. Because of its popularity, the Swiss Army knife is a metaphor depicting the qualities of two things: usefulness and versatility. Okay? Being useful and being adaptive. Right? So I will park that. Transition tayo, tapos babalikan natin yan. Right? Sige. Okay. So let's talk now about organizational life cycle, the principles of organizational life cycle. I've talked about the 4 stages of organizations in large, like you have a startup, you have a small, medium family business, small, medium enterprise, and then a multinational. So those are the big picture. Recently I learned about the 4 stages of startups. May 4 na stage pa lang isang startup. Right? And that's what we're going to talk about. Right? But prior to that, let's talk about the principles. No, the first principle is all startups go through different stages. So expect this, CEO. If you're CEO, you're a business owner, expect na how it started is not how it's going to be. Magkakaiba ang stages. You go through different stages. The second, each stage, they require different focus. How you led when you were starting will be different in how you lead when you have 10 people, when you have 15 people, when you have 20 people. How you lead when you were barely hitting 100,000 sales isn't how you lead when you're already making millions. Yes, I. Please type yes, I, if you can. Ayan, yes. Grabe, may yes na, may tawa pa. Yan. Yes, I. Okay, sige. So the third principle is this. Now, if each stage require a different, each stage is different, it also requires a different competency or skill set to navigate it. Okay, so medyo mabigat ito. I'm trying to simplify it as much as I can. But sabi nga ni Mel, kung hindi ito mabigat, hindi ito CIA. Di ba? Hindi ito CEOInsight Asia. Okay, kung gusto yung lugaw, sabaw-sabaw ng mga talk, inspiration, this is not the place for you. Okay, this is really like hardcore content. Okay, so the first stages, there are 4 stages. The first stage is setup. Next is survive. Third is stabilize. And fourth is scaling. So madali siyang matandaan, right? Because this is a alliteration to. Thank you kay Jay for sharing us the word yan. So, favorite namin yan ni Ses, alliteration, at ni Dayan. Gustong-gusto ni Dayan yan. Okay. All right. So, let's briefly walk through the 4. The setup. Okay. Setup, ito yung konteksto. Okay. Setup is usually one of the hardest Ayan, kasi you're paying rent, you're paying for your products, you're paying for electricity, you're paying for stuff, pero hindi pa masyadong pumapasok yung pera. So medyo challenge ito. Ang tawag dyan, dapat medyo mahaba yung PC mo o yung runway mo. So ang konteksto is you need to focus on your customers, what their pain points are, and the solution to their problem. You need to identify at this stage, sino pa talaga ang perfect customer ko? So how do you know your perfect customer? You have to use the profile, which is what we'll do in the DNA design. Okay? The pre-work. So you'll have an understanding. Kasi limited ang resources natin as a startup, we cannot afford to make mistakes. Hindi tayo bara-bara dapat. Kasi if we do make a mistake as a startup, it might sink us. We're not like big companies who can make millions of mistake, millions worth of mistake and still survive. We're not P&G, we're not General Electric, we're not Tesla na they can burn money. Tayo 1,000 pesos, 'di ba? Actually, here's one of truth na if yung associate natin, accounting associate natin, there are people I work with, yung accounting associate natin hindi nakapag-collect sa ating mga sa ating carrier, sa provider, hindi anong tawag doon, what do you call that, Ses? Yung nag-remit, hindi nakapag-remit, ipit tayo, di ba? So, may mga ganong sitwasyon. You don't want to be in that situation. Sobrang cash trap tayo. So, we need to be able to really strategically focus on the customers at this stage. Okay? Ayan. Ano yung challenge nito? Yan. Ito yung challenge ng stage na to. Finding customers who are willing to pay for your products and services. Pag naubos mo na yung tatlong F, di ba? Your family, your friends, and the fools, di ba? You need to find people who are willing to pay. Usually, yan naman ang bumibili sa atin. Yung mga family natin, yung friends natin, and the idiots who follow us. Diba? But after that, you need to find customers who are willing to pay for our products and services outside the 3 Fs. So that's a challenge. And here's the skill set. Profiling your perfect customer and pricing. This is the skill set that you need to embrace. We all need to have at this stage. We have to know sino ba yung customer natin and at what price yung perfect for them. Na hindi tayo lugi at hindi rin naman overpriced. Huwag naman overpriced pa. Huwag naman overvalued. Okay, ayan, high blood na naman ako. Asan yung t-shirt? Okay, sige. Yes, please type yes, if you're still with me. So, 22 million na nanonood sa Facebook. Kindly heart naman and share the feed. Ayan. Okay, so this is a stage. Many are in this stage na nandito ngayon. Nasa survival, barely keeping their head above water. Hang in there, CEO. You got this. You got the ecosystem with you. Tap. Andito si KKK. Si Shin ng Educado PH nandito. Diba? Kamag-anak, kaibigan, kakilala. Ayan. So, survival stage. Ano naman survival? Ang context nito, we need to find a repeatable way to make money. This is where the businessman comes in. The first stage is all about the salesman. Tayo nagbebenta. At this stage, we need to build mechanisms. Make the business sell. Okay? Si May, yes, ayan. So from us selling to the business selling. Okay? So this is the context ng survive stage. And ano yung challenge? Designing a business model with a monthly recurring revenue or MRR. Okay? We need to have a MRR, meaning ito yung monthly na pumapasok sa ating company. And that MRR must cover the operational expenses and a bit profit, di ba, at this stage. Okay, so that's the challenge. So ano yung skill set? Blueprinting a viable financial model. So if you want to have a viable financial model, andyan si Ses, yan, ng Seller Sub. Ayan, andyan si Chill. Ayan, ang blood ng yan ang mga natin, mga kaibigang also natin that you can talk to. The beauty of the ecosystem is we're all here. You need help? Says I. Yan. Please type says I. para alam nating nandiyan kayo. But the beauty of the ecosystem is you can reach out to people. Dito, we help one another. Hindi dito payabang, walang ganun dito, di ba? So, if payabangan, there are plenty groups out there who can do that. Ayan, napalitan na, says I na ngayon. So here we help one another. So if you're in the survive stage, well, join the club, di ba? Maraming nandyan dito. So let's learn together how to survive this stage. All right, next. The third stage, once you survive, the survive stage, is the stabilize stage. So ano na to, ang context na ito, dito na, focusing on the right people to run the business with you. And this is where many trip and they go back to survive stage. Kasi nakatikim ng konting, oy, may pera na ako, ganito, ganyan, chaotic na siya. Well, the survive is very chaotic. You know, so you start to parang, if you don't have peer advisors, you have business advisors, chaotic talaga. Ang hirap mag-build ng business ng mag-isa. I'm not gonna try that. Yan. Aray, sorry, sir. Sorry na. Ayan, di ba? So finding the right people to run the business with you. So that's the context. The challenge is attracting. We don't chase, we attract. Okay. Well, you chase if you're not part of CI Asia. But if you have the DNA, people, you attract people to become part of your organization or not necessarily part of your network. You know, yesterday I was having a meeting with the team, and then one of the networks natin nag-message na it's an investor, a foreign investor looking for startups to invest with, and they reach out to me, baka may kakilala daw ako. Sabi ko, sige, I'll round up the network. But the point is, when you have the DNA, money will come looking for you. You know, they will attract you. You know, you will attract those people. You know, I don't need I don't need the money. I mean, parang I don't need the money in my business. So I'm looking for startups to fund, di ba? So, syempre, ang ipa-fund ko yung mga nasa network. Alam namang di kita kilala, tapos, di ba? I mean, that's mess up. Okay, so attracting the right people who matches the operational requirements, whether it's investors, whether it's a chief operating officer, whether it's just human capital, whatever the case may be. This is the challenge at this stabilization stage. And the core competency is formally designing your org DNA. Because the org DNA already exists. Right off the bat, you already have the DNA. The challenge na nakikita ko is putting it into paper and making it operational. And for me, taking my own advice, going back to the first episode, this is my perfect customer. Yung mga nasa stabilized stage. Okay? Pag nasa stabilized stage ka, you're around 3 people onwards and your revenue is in the 1 million and up, then we can have that conversation. You know? Kasi hindi para sa akin ang survival stage. Kasi hindi ako ay strategic partner. You know, I'm not a survival partner. So it's not really again, it's not a bad thing, you know. There are plenty of other people who enjoy the survival stage. I was talking to my wife, sabi nga ni Tidoy, Daddy, yun nga yung pinakamaganda, di ba? Na problemado yung kumpanya. Tapos papasok ka, isosolve mo. Sabi ko, hindi para sa akin yan eh. For me, it takes a lot of time for me. Ang bilis kong ma-drain emotionally because hindi nangyayari yung dapat mangyari. So, for those people who are in the survival stage, that's not really my purpose. I will take care. I mean, if people need my help, I will. Pero it's not the perfect customer for me. The perfect customer is at this stage, stabilization, who already knows how to make money on their own and they need to expand and grow. So this is my perfect customer. How about you? Who's your perfect customer? No? You need to know who your perfect customers are. Okay. So last but not the least, the fourth stage is scaling. Okay. So sa scaling, ito na yung konteksto. Focus on growing your customer base. Community building na tayo. We talk about how to build a cult-like following in the previous, I think last month or 2 months ago, in the previous episodes, just watch that. So you want to grow and customer retention na to. And then attraction of perfect customers. Yan. The challenge is growing your operations profitably. Ayan, eto na. Diba? Ang core competency is applying profitability. The ability to make your company profitable. That's skill. Okay? Hindi yan copy-paste. Hindi yan, oy, napanood ko sa ganito. Oy, ganun. It's a skill you learn. Okay? Rooted from sharpened business acumen. So far, so good. Please type yes, I, if you are still with me and you are still following the 4 stages of startup. Ayan. Sige. So, ang question ko, I'm gonna strip the table and I'm gonna ask you, what do you think you are, what stage do you think you're in as a company? Are you in the setup stage, or are you in the survival, scaling, or in the stabilization? Yeah. Please type it down. Ayan, survival. We have people in survival. You're not alone, fam. Diba? Marami tayo niyan. Yan. So there. Okay. Okay. So ngayon, anong connection ng Swiss knife sa stages na to? And here's what I've discovered. Okay? And this is taught by me, the Crucibles of Leadership, Robert J. Thompson. Yan. So the Swiss knife is actually business review. Yun yung topic natin for today. That's an introduction. Business review is a practice that enables you to transition on each stage. It is the Swiss Army knife of CEOs. Because business review shares, it helps us do one thing, learn. And according to the Crucibles of Leadership, ni Robert J. Thomas and Warren Bennis, learning is the Swiss Army knife of CEOs. If you have one skill, and that is learning, you will be able to scale each stage. You know? So, ito talaga yung ito yung key natin. This is the key message. Business review is your Swiss knife in navigating each stage that you are in. Yes, ayan. Please type yes, if you are still with me. Yan. Yes, Grabe ang active ng Zoom Yan, sige. Alright, so let's define, ano ba itong business review? Okay, what is this business review? Business review is a regular meeting designed to analyze and outline action. By the way, before I proceed, nakalimutan ko to. Please magpasalamat kayo kay Frank, kay RD, kay Chris, kay Mel, kay BK, kasi yung 4 stages na yung binayaran nila yon para matutunan. Okay? And you got it for free. So magpasalamat kayo Huwag niyong kalimutan na pasalamatan yung mga ayan, sila Eman, sila Tina ng Comisen. Ayan, pasalamatan niyo yan, di ba? Let's go. Anyway, thank you client partners. Anniversary naman, so mamigay tayo ng value. Ayan. Okay, so a business review is a regular meeting designed to analyze, analyze and outline action items. Please type the highlighted and underlined word para tayo. Ayan, para align tayo. Improve, yes. Improve the overall performance of the enterprise. The point of the business review is to analyze. After analysis, magkaroon tayo ng action items. Okay? Ang keyword dyan is improvement. So, what's the point of analyzing things kung hindi naman tayo nagagawa ng action item? Diba? Na-monitor ko yung performance. Ano nagagawin natin? Diba? Na-analyze ko, medyo mataas yung RTS natin. Okay, so anong gagawin? Does that make sense? Na-analyze ko, mababa yung org health natin. Okay, so anong gagawin natin? You create action items. Diba? And this is where execution comes in. Huwag na naman ako. Diba? Execution is there is action item. Now, here's the thing. Hindi lang bara-bara action item. Kailangan yung action item na yon is about improving the overall performance. So when I say overall performance, it is measured with the financial targets of the company. How do you know your company is improving? Pag tumataas ang numbers. Yes. Diba? Gustong-gusto ni Ses tong usapan na to. Ayan. Diba? Enjoy na enjoy siya rito kasi we're talking about improving the numbers. Let's move away from surviving to stabilizing and scaling with business review. Says I. Uy, bagay Gusto ko yon. Ayan, di ba? Sige. So, why? What missional to? Diba? NX? Bakit missional? Copy-paste na. Okay. Why business review matters? Siguro nagkamali ako ng binura. Okay. Anyway, no excuses. My bad. Fixing it. Because business review, ang point na is why business review matters. Ito yung binibigay niya. 1 second clarity. And clarity in a chaotic world, lalo na in a chaotic world, is ibig sabihin you're in the survival stage or startup, is very powerful. Okay? Imagine playing basketball, tapos hindi mo, magko-compute ka pa kung, okay, naka 5 points si LeBron, tapos ilan na ba kay Anthony Davis? 7 ba? Teka, add ko. Di ba? Parang ang labo you know? You want, isang tingin mo lang, you know whether you're winning or losing. So that's the power of clarity, so that you can create action steps to improve the situation. First to know, first to act. Yes, I. Yeah, goodness, goodness. Yung mga nasa Facebook dyan, di ba? Ginusto nyo to, kaya mag-share kayo. Di ba? Ayan, sermon ngayon. Welcome to Business Church. I am Father. And GTD, ginusto ko to. And I will be delivering the sermon for business today. Ralph Renz Rivera, shout out sa'yo. Okay, so why business review matters? Number one, it assesses performance. Alliteration na naman to. You get to assess performance. After assessing performance, ito yung question na sasagutin natin. Do I know if I'm winning or losing in just 1 second? If you have to compute, it's already complicated. That's why I don't go for, as much as possible, yung mga fraction. Go for percentage. Diba? Either whole number or kung percentage yan, fine. If you want to hide something, fine. Pero go for raw number. Okay, so revenue na ganito. Like for example, 100,000 revenue, diba? Every month. So put it there, or 100,000 per person. Diba? Malinaw. Pagka ikaw nasa sales ka, yung associate mo nasa sales, isang tingin lang. Are you winning or losing? O tignan mo, naka 100,000 ka ba? Diba? Well, hindi na kailangan ng supervisor, tama? Hindi na kailangan ng manager para sabihin, oy, nag-improve ka. Hindi na natin kailangan yon. That's why supervisors now become strategic partners, because they no longer need to supervise but to strategize with them. Kasi ayan na yung score, ang bilis ng access. First to know, first to act. Second, after assessing performance, you get to analyze performance. Okay? And when analyzing, it means, do I know who does what by when? I mean, what worked and what didn't work, and sino ba gagawa? I think it was Eman. Eman, natutulog ako. Si Eman naman kasi ng Comizen, nagme-message 12:30, nagtatanong, ito yung tanong, sir, sino ba nagsabi ng who does what by when? Para sabi ko, pare, alam ko, nagigising ako ng ng mga daling araw pag nagpapa-milk, no? But message naman tayo ng mga yung mga 8 a.m. mga ganon. Gising na ako niyan. Anyway, you do not want to leave a meeting without clarity on who will do what by when. Kasi mostly kaya meetings are a drag. Kaya mostly meetings are parang, it doesn't make sense. It's a waste of time. Because unang-una, yung mga tao na nandun, hindi naman talaga required na nandun. Parang ba't nandito to? Wala lang. Diba? You know? And then the second is, paglabas ng meeting, ano nga ba gagawin? Sino nga ba gagawin ng alin? Bakit hindi nakasulat eh? So it's very important that after leaving, there is a document that says ganito ang gagawin ni James at saka ni Felix sa app ng gantong araw para dailies natin. Wala pa akong G-sheet. Ayan, di ba? Do I know who does what by when? So that's the second. You get to analyze performance, and last but not the least, you can accelerate. Now that you've assessed, where do I stand? Now that you analyze what worked and what didn't and who will do what, now, because of business review, you can accelerate performance. And acceleration requires two things: repeatability and accountability. In terms of execution, critical yung second, accountability. Kahit anong planning, I've spoken with so many CEOs at ngayon, nare-realize na nila, baliwala ang meeting natin kung hindi naman tayo nag-accountability meeting. You know, and it happens to the best of us. You know, accountability meeting, you inspect what you expect. Huwag tayong magugulat kapag hindi nangyayari yung dapat mangyari. Kasi wala naman pala tayong ginawa in between. Yes, please type yes, if you can still relate with me. Ayan, lalo na doon sa mga nasa Facebook. Ayan. Right. Yes, So here, in the accountability session, you only ask one thing. It's a yes or no. Klaro, walang maybe. Did execution happen? I did my best. Oh yeah. But the question is, did the execution happen? Yes. O di yun. I gave my best. Did the execution happen? Hindi. So doesn't matter. Please complete the sentence. Good intentions Pakitype dyan. Diba? And very relate. Ayan. Good intentions don't count. Diba? Diba? Bad execution made with good intention are still bad execution. Diba? So at the end of the day, result ang hinahanap natin, not effort. We salute effort. We applaud effort. But we expect results. Yes? Yan, di ba? Oh, I still have time. Yes, aray. So gusto kong mag-case study and I asked permission for this. I asked permission for this with Sellers Hub. You know, nagkataon lang na birthday pala ni BK, hindi ko alam. So happy birthday BK uli na nasa Singapore at sa Rivera family na nandyan. Enjoy kayo. Watch na lang. I think I'm not sure they're watching. Tulog pa ata. But anyway, so how did it begin? I want to share a quick brief background of how our engagement happened. That was 2020. We're engaged for 2 years and 1 year and 10 months now. Almost 2 years na kami. Diba? So I was doing a startup week 2020 and December. And we had Paolo, we had Leiber, we had Ray Banyo, parang sabi nila the Filipino Elon Musk as our faculty, and we gathered a lot of startups there. They're doing a pitch, and sa page namin may nag-message na sabi niya, "Hi, this is BK Rivera, and you were recommended to me by Paolo Hilario, and I think we can help one another." So doon siya sa page nag-message. So I thought, oh, maybe this is a guy who wanted to partner with me or with us company for the startup week. So I reached out to him. Sabi ko, okay, I'm available na ganito. We met. And the rest, as you say, is history. If you've been following me, you know where we started, how it went, and how it's going. You know, nasa yellow bell pa kami niyan. At hindi ko makakalimutan na pagdating ko ron. Grabe naman, di ba? When BK said, I have a small company and we're growing fast, I don't know what to do. And I have around 27 people. So, okay, let's have that conversation. So, nakita ko parang dating computer shop to, ah. Tama ba, Ses? Yeah, good old days, yes. Dating computer shop. I think we rented tatlong bahay sa street, sa Yellow Bell. Yung isang bahay, puro mga motor. And then yung kabila, yung office, pagdating ko ron, may nag-abot sa akin, caramel macchiato. Di ba, 20? Pagtingin ko, uy, tama, fa. Hindi fe. Hindi FA fa. Sabi ko, grabe, excellent. So we were there and we were dreaming and now it's becoming a reality. Anyway, so we had that engagement and we grew. You know, we accelerated to last 2021. We had over 100 teammates, from 27 to over 100 teammates. And the revenue, grabe ang nilipad ng revenue. There's a different although malaki ang revenue, yes, malaki rin ang RTS. You know, malaki rin ang so it's not really the gross revenue, but it was the profitability. We started focusing on profitability. You know, so this is the result ngayon. At kahapon ko pa ka-chat to si Ces. Okay, here's the result. We beat last year's performance in terms of gross sales by May. So last year's annual total sales, gross, we beat it this year, May. And how many teammates from over 107 yon? It was down to 85. Okay. Next, we beat last year's performance in gross sales with delivered sales by August. And we're 64. Pailit. So nakikita niyo efficiency. Grabing power ng efficiency. Okay? So take note, we changed from gross to delivered. So I said, bakit iniba natin? Bakit hindi RTS ang mini-measure natin? Kasi sabi sa akin ni BK, kasi hindi porket mababa ang RTS mo, nakapag-deliver ka. Pero pag deliver yan, sure ball na deliver. Obviously gross, na benta mo yan. Pag RTS, hindi yan benta. Make sense? So if you sold something hanggat hindi nagbabayad yung customer, it's not really sales. So we beat last year's performance in terms of gross sales with 64 teammates from 107 to 64 and beating last year's performance. Here's one. We beat September's performance with October's performance in terms of gross sales. Ibig sabihin, mas lumaki yung benta. Here's the bottom line. Mas lumaki yung benta, mas konti yung tao. My point, hindi mo kailangan maraming tao. Kailangan mo yung tamang tao. Yes, I. Please type yes, I if you are still with me. Ayun, di ba? Yeah. Ang inspiration, di ba? Yung result. Tapos hindi tayo titigil doon. Kasi yung iba, puro inspiration story. Ito ako, ganito ako. No. We're not all about motivation. We give you the management tools afterwards. Iinom lang ako, okay lang ba? Ayan. Totoo. Di totoo yung hire. Oo, di ba? Hire strategically. So we're not all about inspiration. Okay yon. But we will add the management tool so you can bring this home with you. Okay ba yon? Okay, I still have 10 minutes. Okay, so I asked him, what changed? Sabi ko, what happened? Bakit nag-accelerate yung performance natin? Of course, I know the answer kasi yun yung dinidikdik ko sa kanila eh. But I wanted to hear it from them kasi iba pag galing sa kanila. Ito sa kita dalawa. Okay, the first one, yan. Here's the key. They changed the measurement of performance from gross sales to profitability. So that's the first thing. They changed, hindi yung dami ng benta, hindi yung laki ng opisina. Diba? Hindi yung dami ng tao. Yan ang thinking, measure, grabe, hindi yung brand. Yan ang common, brand, diba? Hindi yun. It's profitability. Diba? So they changed the measurement. They changed from gross sales to profitability. Right? The second thing is ito. They implemented accountability at all levels. Kasi before, ang accountability from BK to me. Yun lang. Hindi ko sila parang, okay, at the end of the day, ikaw sasabunin ko. Okay? Because I'm operating as board. Ang nangyari, as we improve, me to BK to the Trinity. Yan. Tapos, ngayon, sinasalo ni Mark eh. Sinasalo ni Ses eh. Bahala kayo. O sige. Ayan. Sinasalo ni Diane eh. Ayan. So ngayon, we changed that from me to BK to the Trinity through the supervisors. Naiipit na ngayon ng supervisor. So here's my point. Bottom line, accountability is the key to execution. Yes, ayan, tinatanggi ni Mark eh. Ayan, di ba? Ako pa naman, I hold people accountable because I want to be held accountable. You know? So, yon. All right. Okay. So, let's get practical. I still have 10 minutes and then we'll close the session. Kaya pa? Please type kaya pa if you are still there. Para alam ko namang engage pa kayo. Yan, di ba? All right. Rock and roll. Kaya pa. Okay, so how do you perform a business review? Okay, how do you perform? The first one is measure performance. Diba? So business review regularly measures performance on a weekly level. That's why the executive advisory is really, Miko Lapira of Coffee Crafters mentioned this. And I think I shared it already. Sabi niya na the beauty of executive advisory is I get to strategize weekly and pivot regularly. Kasi may now again, doesn't have to be me, but you do your BR. Do your business review the business, measure performance and ask yourself, what was your score last week? Ano ba score natin last week? Diba? So for example, for 1 month, 100,000 ang target mo, so simplify it na lang, o 1 million a month dapat para profitable tayo. Kaya hindi gross sales ibig sabihin, net profit yon. So break it down into 4, 250,000 a week. Diba? So every week, alam mo na dapat baka 250 ako. Pag hindi ako naka 250, alam ko hindi ako magiging profitable. So, every week, you track that. The business review ought to be the same time, same channel, same people. Right? So, you hold people accountable. Kaya nga Monday morning yun ng business review. That's why I don't set meetings with the CEOs every Monday because alam ko BR nila yun. Okay? So Monday is business review and DNA Monday. So look at your score last week. Next, mine for insights. Ask these questions. Ano yung nag-work? And once you know what worked, keep doing it. Okay? Also ask, what didn't work? If it didn't work, stop doing it. And then the third, what might work? Diba? Try natin to. Start doing it. Okay? So again, when you leave the meeting, malinaw who will do what by when. Nakasulat yan. Okay, so after mining for insights, here's the thing. Model the practice. Okay? Meaning, as CEO, we are leaders. You're leaders. I'm a leader. We start the practice and we expect others to follow. Hindi yan, ay maganda kayo. Hindi. This is where you enforce accountability. You do this. Hindi yan parang, ay maganda, no? Ay try mo ganito. Hindi. Because that's your company. So you enforce business review at every level. So how do you scale business review? Diba? Sabi ni Bill Walsh, the quality of teamwork depends on the quality of communication. Right? And Bill Walsh is the coach, legendary coach of 49ers. He built 49ers into 4 Super Bowls. All right. Sabi niya, ito. So the 4 roles, I talk about this after the summit. If you want to talk about it more, usapan na lang natin yan. Message na lang ako. But here, there are 4 executives, managers, supervisors, and performers. So the executives will hold the managers accountable for the result through business review. After that, the managers will hold the supervisors accountable for the result during their business review. Wala na si executive dito. And then the supervisors will hold the performers, the front lines, the rank and file of the expected results through their business review. Hindi na dapat aabot yan sa executive if you're doing this right. Yun ang maganda, hindi na umabot sa atin yung problema. Diba? Kasi in-empower na natin sila. Right. So, here's the idea. The flywheel, an image that you can carry in your head, measure the performance, mine insights, and then model the practice by measuring performance, and it's a infinite loop. Yan. In closing. Yan, closing na tayo. So I guess I will be asking si Ses na lang. Ses, favorite kita for insights later, ha? Yan. So, closing, we're all about methodical dito. Okay? This is the focus of this month, and we're all about immersing in details. And in terms of immersing in details, we're talking about execution. It's all about the detail. Diba? Sa business review, you need to do a deep dive, drilling down the specifics. And when people are asking me, you know what's going on. If you're following me, you know what's going on. People say na what you did last CEO Summit was grabe, ganda nang nangyari. How were you able to pull off Steve C and Kim Lato and Kath and Marvin and Celine and then si BK? How were you able to pull it off such an event? It's really good, and people are saying, how are you able to execute it? And ilan lang kami nito? 3 plus the team, so give or take 7 kami, di ba? 7 ang core, the rest are the rest are kumbaga other and I was a faculty, I wasn't really doing the operations, so shout out dito kay Press. Yan, si Joanne, siyang behind the scenes. So how are you able to pull it off? And sabi niya, there was an associate of mine who said, when you talk about FA, if I'm gonna describe it, it's just you get shit done. So we were able to pull off Gian Havelona for the summit. So pwede na kayo mag-register. Very excited tayo for Summit 2023. Nandyan si Chris to share the link. Yan. Gian Havelona, he's a Forbes 30 under 30. Yan. So he's an edtech. Hindi lang yan, hindi ko pa pwedeng banggitin, pero ito pa pala, sorry. So we have Darius Tenerife of Equicap as one of our advisors. So if you're asking for advice on the finance area, meron tayo niyan sa ecosystem, 'di ba? So we have advisor. He's like a CEO and CEO listed company, subsidiary of a listed company, ang Equicap. No, he's an investor, he's an advisor. So kaibigang oso natin yan. Right? And then we're in conversation with one. Ayan, hindi ko na babanggitin kasi check na lang soon. And then obviously if you're following, we got a chairman. So makakausap natin ng isang chairman because of it. So here's the point. How are we able to pull it off? Simple lang. It's really the business review. Every week, we write down ano yung kailangan namin ma-accomplish for the week, and then we do it. And then every week we review. We hold one another accountable on making sure that each one of us is delivering our end of the bargain. And if hindi nangyayari yon, we ask, how can I help? So that keeps the ball rolling. And this is your job, CEO, your Chief Executive Officer. You're the one who's supposed to be. You must be the one modeling the business review. Yan. And this is nothing new. This isn't something I invented. When Ford was dying back in 2000, early 2000, Alan Mulally revived Ford. I stole this practice from this book, American Icon, by Alan Mulally. He revived Ford using what you call the weekly BPMRS, weekly business performance, BPRS, weekly business performance review. He hosts a meeting every week with all the CEOs of different brands, and he hold them accountable. The questions that I'm sharing with you, you know. So the principles for sharing here is really world class. You want to become a world class company, ito yung practices, apply it, and it works. Right? So closing quote ko to, and I'm gonna give the floor to Ces. Sabi natin, this is my closing. Execution demands clarity, repeatability, and ultimately accountability. And accountability means it is drilling down to the specificities and only moving on until you are satisfied with the answer. Thank you for joining us this week. I now give the floor to Ces. Ces, you can unmute yourself and share your insight as we end this session. Ma'am.
Yun. So, good morning everyone. No, so para sa akin, ang key takeaway ko na sinend ko agad sa team ko right away is yung stages of scaling or the organization. Ang pinaka-inputs ko doon kasi is each level requires different version of you. It's either skill set, mindset, or emotional fortitude. Each level requires, kung stage 1 is kaya mo pang mag-handle, for example, yung sinabi kanina na 10. Sa 15, hindi napapalag yung ganong klaseng emotion. Or hindi napapalag yung ganong klaseng skill set. Kailangan mas magaling ka na dun sa dating ikaw. No? So, yun yung pinaka-key takeaway ko. Different version of you in different levels. Thank you po.
Grabe, thank you, Ces. And thank you so much for those who are first times. Thank you for joining us. We shall see you next week. All right? Thank you, everyone. Cheers. Bye-bye.